The season is up and running with a victory at Forest Green Rovers, and we are here to talk about it live with all of you. This is the Blue Monday podcast. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, discussing Ipswich Town up or down since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you're tuned into the Flagship show, available every week on podcast and video. Joining me this week, again, live, so we want to hear from you, and a little bit more manageable, a quartet rather than business of laptops and Craig arriving at the very last minute. Fresh from a trip to the southwest, Seb Brown, and watching from afar, Dave Diamond and Joe Fairs. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday evening, I should say. Everyone good?
Yeah. Yep, I think so.
Yes, go on.
Pumped into life by the editor's soundtrack of the pod, getting us going, isn't it?
Yeah, salute to
awesome.
Ed Lay.
Good as that.
Bit of ton of love there. Thank you to our friends at Editors for hooking us up with that one. Dave, you were out and about on the bike today, were you not? Do you want to talk
mate.
about
I had an early-ish run down to Felixstowe. Yeah. I try to get out sort of once a week, which is now probably once a fortnight now. But yeah, it was bloody lovely down in Felixstowe this morning. Yeah, bit of a tailwind going back. Always a bit of a headwind coming back. But there you go, tailwind going down, headwind coming back. But no, it was absolutely glorious. Didn't hang around, but yeah, glorious down there this morning. So yeah,
it's really hot today, wasn't it, as well, in the sun?
It was humid.
Really hot.
Humid. Yeah, wow, it was hot yesterday as well at Fleetwood. I keep saying Fleetwood. I'm really into sort
it's
this out.
Never ever hot at Fleetwood.
That sounds like a Jules. You make that sounds like a Jules Hughes away trip there.
Yeah. Imagine if I'd driven to Fleetwood yesterday.
Blackburn.
Oh man, the Sedmobile rocks up in Fleetwood. Yeah, well, at least it's nearer time for you, Joe. There's a lot of love on the chat for your top. Talk to us about that one. That is a 99 2000 or 98 99.
I think it's probably a 98 to 2000 away training kit. They probably kept it for both seasons there, but yeah, the corresponding top to the one of our promotion season, the away top we had there, this was the training top for it. It's nice. It's just a bit tight on the neck.
It is grabbing you around the neck a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not punch for the quality of design of their kit. Sometimes the quality of fit, the material, which is heavy as anything and not particularly breathable. So I have to make a sacrifice to wear this to look good to the guys.
I used to have half a dozen of those, which my my six-a-side team used to play down the cricket stadium in those. They were magnificent. Nice. And then I think I flogged them for about, you'd hate this, guys, I think I flogged them for about a 10 of the lot at a car boot sale about 10 years ago. I know. I was under pressure. I was under pressure to clear out all that crap, so I had to do it. It had to be done. But yeah. But I keep finding, I keep showing you guys from time to time, I stumble across these odd bits and pieces of kit. So I may still have one of those, but it's a lovely shirt. But Joe's right, they weighed a ton.
And it looks like, so it's really tight around your neck, but are the sleeves like huge?
Baggy, yeah. No, they're not tight.
He's there we go. Lovely fit. There you go.
When an XL would fit someone.
Oh, they're all XL. They're all XL shirts. Yeah.
For those of you listening on the podcast, you have missed out on a fashion show from Joseph
saw me knock Mrs. F's plant
over
as well.
That would have been.
An aloe vera on the floor. Don't want that. As we mentioned, go on, Jake. Oh, go on, Dave.
Like Joe Fairs on the catwalk there for a moment, wasn't it?
Sweating away.
Rushmere Fashion Week.
It's almost a roll net, that as well, isn't it? Of course, it's perfect for these
tight,
conditions.
Joe. Look at that.
We mentioned we're live. Hello to Charlie, to Lee, and to Dan in the Departures Lounge of Belfast International. Let us know where you're going, Dan. Exciting to see where you're off to. You might be coming back here, to be fair. I don't know where you live. So, let us know there. Gary, good to hear from you. Michael, good day from Sofa in Brisbane. Ashley's with us. And Lee, not for us to say, Lee, but your words rather than mine. The best. I see the best four are on tonight. Mikey was going to join us, but he couldn't turn his laptop on in time. So there you go. No,
he was getting pelters this time last week.
And there you go. HCH has done my job for me. There you go. Good to see Will, who I bumped into yesterday. Great to see you yesterday, Will. Nick's with us as well. Fantastic stuff. We will come back to your comments and we'll talk through the game in just a bit. And we will do some Q&A. So do get your observations, your thoughts, your questions in for the guys. And we'll read us through as many as we can as well. But Seb, talk to us about your match day experience in. I'm going to use these words because we can say this, being Ipswich fans. But talk to me about Forest Green Rovers in League One in the arse end of nowhere.
It is. It's a very, very strange place to have a football stadium, isn't it? You know, it's lovely. It's very picturesque and it's lovely and hilly, and it's the kind of place you'd probably rent a holiday cottage for a long weekend or a few days.
Airbnb,
some lovely walks, stopping off at various pubs and stuff. If that's what you're into, then it's a lovely part of the world. For a football stadium, it is bizarre. As we were going up the hill on the 1980s sort of park and ride bus, I started to think wasn't going to make it all the way up. I suddenly thought, where is this ground? And then you literally get to the top of a hill and it's just there, and the roads are so tight, and it just can't deal with 1,200 ITFC fans turning up. I guess they normally get 200-300 in League Two and stuff, unless Cheltenham are coming to town. So it's a lovely place. Glad I've done it, but it's not one that I'll probably be going back to, if I'm being honest.
Well, I wonder if it's going to be an issue in the sort of later in the season where a team like Portsmouth turn up there, maybe without such a compliant fan base as Ipswich have. And if it's a wet day, a cold day, and they're stuck up there for an hour at the end of the game, and they've just lost rather than just won, and in high spirits in the sunshine. We'll see how that goes. Because I know I spoke to a Bristol City fan. They said they'd either been there for a cup game or a friendly, and they said it was an absolute nightmare up there. The stewarding, getting away from the ground, and all that.
Well, the queues for the bus after the park and ride back down were apparently over an hour, and some of the guys we were there with put in a WhatsApp group. One of the bus, I think, broke down or couldn't get down, and they had to get off and start walking down, and it was just an absolute logistical nightmare.
A few on the Telegram group said, "Christ Almighty, how the hell's it going to be in the depths of winter? For goodness' sake! I mean, at least you guys had a nice day." Oh, okay, yeah.
It was. And did you partake of some vegan food without going all gammony as per Mikey's recommendation last week, Seb?
I didn't know. Your Q pie looked all right, didn't it? What was that?
It was chicken. Well, it wasn't though. And this is like, we need to get into this pretty early doors. I think if it's a sausage, it's got to be meat. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be pork or something like that. If you call a vegetarian thing a sausage or a sausage roll, I'm not. I'm happy that it exists. It's a choice, and that's great.
Surely sausage is just a shape, though, isn't it?
Yes. This is the debate, Joe, and it's important that we do this. Let's not talk about Forest Green. Let's talk about veganism and vegetarianism. No, that's one of my just annoyance and things. But the Q pie, which was kind of corny chicken bits it was chicken and meat pie basically, but with corn. It was very lovely. Actually, I enjoyed it, and they've got a BrewDog beard van thing at the top of the fan zone. But as Seb quite rightly said, I think quite a lot of people were hoping to get into the very few pubs that were away friendly. Had all 1,000 descended on that BrewDog van and the 5 picnic tables that they put out for us, I think it might have been a bit more carnage.
What was the story with? Did I hear something about the owners presenting a diamond to a home fan before?
They
for every game.
Yes, they're golden gamble equivalent.
Lewis.
There you go. Yeah, they announced this thing called Sky Diamonds. We didn't really know what it was, but when they said it was worth about $2,000, we all got a lot more interested. And it's basically their golden gamble equivalent. At half time, they just read out a ticket, and somebody wins a diamond that's been somehow mined from the sky with 0 carbon offset, and they had to go around to the ticket office and pick it up, and $2,000, I think it was, or something.
Yeah, no, I heard it was worth $2,000.
Sounds like a scheme that Del Boy would come up with.
Well, yeah, the vegan Del Boy. Michael's asked us about that. Why are they all vegan? So, worth mentioning for the uninitiated that Forest. I nearly did Fleetwood again. Bloody hell! Come on. Forest Green are owned by.
They're definitely not vegan.
They're not vegan. No, not up there. Not up there. Gravy and everything, lad. I don't know what accent that was. And they are owned by Dale Vince, who owns Ecotricity, which is a energy supplier, but he is big on sustainability and low carbon and net zero, and therefore meat production is a very carbon intensive production process, and therefore he's decided that they'll do their little bit by not stocking that stuff in around the ground. So that's why
he's actually from Great Yarmouth, isn't he, Dale?
He is.
So it could have been we could have been in that really old stand at Great Yarmouth yesterday.
Wellesley Road.
That'd have been a fun old poke up there on the train, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's worth mentioning that they are looking to build a new ground as well, I think, with lots of sustainable stuff.
So it's like their kit made of hemp or something like that.
Seb, do you remember?
It's recycled coffee beans and recycled plastic, I think.
Is that's right? Is it?
Yeah, genuinely, yeah. The pitch is 100% organic, which, to be fair, the
look good. The
pitch
pitch looked
stunning.
great.
Yeah, it was stunning. Yeah. And did you clock the little sign about the urinals and said they will be recycling the male urine to
the
use to irrigate the pitch and stuff?
Yeah, it's got quite a lot of head on it, hasn't it? Yeah, yeah. And there was also some stats that were put up on the advertising boards around the stadium, which we were staring straight at them. Quite depressing. How much tons of carbon were emitted into the atmosphere, or how many people were going to die of carbon monoxide, stuff like that. It was. So they are taking their, using their platform to try and encourage, it's an important topic, isn't it?
But also as well, sort of all that aside, they're a very upwardly mobile football club, aren't they? That have come up through a lot of levels and have sort of had a lot of turnover of staff and managing to keep going again. They're obviously a very well-run club to get to where they are, which is probably realistically their ceiling, isn't it? League One is going to be the ceiling of them.
Yeah. Chris was looking at the same thing I was as well. Yes, how many tons of CO2 are in the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, uply mobile. And Seb, worth us talking about Fleetwood and the way they played.
Let's get Forest Green even.
Oh, I've done it again. That's so weird.
Shot every time you say Fleetwood.
Yeah, I can't understand how you're getting them confused because you've been to both and they are very, very different. No one's going to be renting an Airbnb in Fleetwood anytime soon.
That's as much as I could do. I just need to replace it with something else. Let's look at the Fleetwood team and let's look at the Ipswich Town team. We were talking about Ian Birchner, weren't we, in the build-up, Seb? And they play a very progressive style, and we were expecting maybe a face-off of the passing, attacking three at the back type formations, and that's pretty much what we got here. Some debuts for Forest Green Rovers, probably the big headline. Connor Wickham signed midweek and wasn't in the squad, which I think we were a little bit surprised about, Seb.
I kind of figured he'd be on the bench. I know he's probably had no pre-season and way off it, but I kind of figured if if you're chasing the game a little bit, he's a great physical option to bring on for 5-10 minutes to try and make the ball stick and try and make something happen. So I think when we all saw that, we were kind of a little bit relieved, weren't we?
Yeah, Jamil Matt leading the line as captain, certainly a unit, and put it about a bit there yesterday. Cameron Burgess came into the team. It's worth talking about that. Luke Wolfenden unavailable due to illness, we think. Leif Davis, I think, unsurprisingly retained his starting position there. Guys, Joe, thoughts on that team? Obviously, the Wolfenden illness is kind of an enforced change, but were you expecting the rest of it to remain the same as Bolton?
Yeah, because I think the sort of the big question mark, as it was last week, was about Leif Davis, wasn't it, having sort of came in and maybe not suffered the best debut. But I thought you've got to give him a chance to play through that. So I was pleased to say the same, and I expected it to be exactly the same team, which it was in reality, other than the Wolfenden change. But I guess it was just whether you brought in an Aluko or whether you brought in a Greg Lee. They were sort of the only two maybe pushing for it. But no, I expected it to be the same team.
Yep, and on the bench, worth saying Carl Edwards made an appearance, which was good. But Dave, you happy with that lineup as well? Ladapo leading the line. Chaplin Harness, I guess, was a lot of people like John Jules from his sub appearance, but Marcus Harness retains his spot.
I think so. Harper was also ill, wasn't he? So he was missing from the bench yesterday. I guess effectively replaced on the bench by Edwards there. But no, I agree with Joe. It's pretty much as you were, other than the Burgess in for Wolfenden.
And Seb, the first half it started off quite stretched, wasn't it? Quite end to end. Both teams going for it, although a real sort of lack of proper chances, and then we started to get on top, really, didn't we?
Yeah. Nothing really happened for the first sort of 15-20 minutes, did it? I noticed they were pressing us quite high and quite hard when you commented how knackered they started to look round about the sort of the 25th minute or so. So it was two teams going at each other. I really like the way they played the football, by the way. They had a big lump up front in Matt, but they weren't a team that looked to lump it up to him or anything. They play football the right way and playing on
quick,
the deck.
Didn't they broke really quick.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and we had a couple of moments early on, I guess, where Burgess maybe struggled a little bit, as did Davis against the likes of Matt and O'Keefe. But we grew into the game really well, and we just started to kind of dictate the play, didn't we? We're knocking the ball around nicely and keeping them at arm's length and looking to create a couple of opportunities. Harness had one, didn't he, where he shot from range and the keeper gathered fine, and Burns put the afterburners on one and got to the byline, puts a deep cross to the back post, and Morsey gets a header down, which the keeper gets down to claim, and then our guys appeal. I think they were going for a handball by the defender running in and stuff, but we were pretty much in complete control for the first sort of 15-20 minutes, weren't we?
Yeah, and there's an effort for Ladapo. I'd quite like to chat about Ladapo because
yes, I forgot that one. Yeah, really good effort, wasn't it? He made it all
Great
himself on the turn, wasn't it? Got his shot off, and the keeper McGee tips it over the bar. That was a really lovely effort, made out of absolutely nothing. And yeah, that came down the left as well, didn't it? That was a ball in from Davis, I think, to Ladapo, first time control, and then get the shot off. And yeah, I was impressed by Ladapo yesterday. I liked him.
Talk to us about the right-hand side, because a lot of us observed Wes Burns tiring last week. Personally, we were obviously on that side of the pitch first half. I'm not really sure the position, the Danasian or Danasian, we should say. There were 2 attempts from Forest Green to
Donation and
Danasia. I think they gave up with the middle consonants in the end and just went Dason for the second time, but Danason was what they went for. But that partnership, which was so important and critical for us, hasn't really kicked into gear so far, would you say?
Not yet, no. Like I said, the one where he put the ball in for Morsey was the one time Burns sort of opened his legs up and looked to knock it past the guy. I think he's just a couple of weeks behind the rest, isn't he? I know he had the break at the end of the season, then went away with Wales. So I think he's just probably a couple of weeks behind the rest of the squad in terms of sort of sharpness and fitness and stuff. Danasian didn't seem to get forward anywhere near as much yesterday either, did he? I don't know if he was trying to sort of help out Burgess with Matt up front and stuff, but he was noticeably deeper than normal. But thankfully, we started playing down the left, and that's where we got most joy.
But Burns did have another second half that cross flashed right across the box, didn't it? Which looked like someone getting touched. I think John Jules and was it Jackson at the time were in there, but I don't know. I don't think he's one you hugely, as everyone said, one you hugely need to worry about, do you? It's just he's probably a more marked man this season. It opens up opportunities elsewhere on the pitch.
Yeah, and he did have a decent effort at the start of the second half. Really firm shot that had a bit of swaz on it, and the keeper punched it away. But the goal is going to come partway through that first half. It culminates after an effort for Forest Green, which was pretty close. Walton comes out, and not for the first time, is going to have to make a save, albeit the ball ricochets back off Matt and goes out for a goal kick and borderline offside. But up the other end, and Joe Marcus Harness is going to get off the mark. It's a well-taken instinctive finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it sort of starts, like you say, straight after the match chance where we have the ball deep in our half. And I think Davis does really well for it because he gets the ball into his feet just on the touchline and he sort of really pings the ball into Harness's feet. So he's sort of in the move right at the start of the game where Harness, it's one of those ones, he's got 2 men around him. He's got the ball hammered into his feet and he takes a sort of touch, lays it off to Morsey, and Davis, by this point, has gone. He flies down the touchline. Morsey picks him out well, and then it's just a case of Davis just putting the ball into an area because there's not really anyone in there at that time. It comes back to Ladapo. He has a sort of snapshot that just hits the defender, and it comes back to Harness, and then he's just absolutely mullered it into the back of the net, isn't it? It's one of those, once you really like sort of very little backlift, really clean, sweet strike, and just absolutely sort of takes the roof of the net with it, doesn't it? And but yeah, really, really good to see a goal coming from the left-hand side. Davis involved sort of at the start of the build-up and at the end of the build-up, and Harness again sort of getting involved at the start and at the end of it. And yeah, really impressive goal, and yeah, a good start.
And probably no less than we deserved. And then just on half-time, which is an excellent time to score, Dave, Sammy Morsey's going to pop up with one.
It's ridiculous. And I mean, this is a good goal, wasn't it? Really good goal. And interchange initially, I think, between Morsey and Harness, and Davis is involved again, which is great to see. I think he gets the ball wide left, chips it in, I think, to Harness. Again, a little bit of interplay with Burns, touchback from Burns, and then it's just a class finish from about 25 yards, probably a strange sort of finish because it almost sort of goes over the goalkeeper and almost loops in with curl as well. I mean, it's a hell of a goal, really. You guys just said because of where you were, you weren't sure it was in. You were when you were actually there, but yeah, just a stunning finish, really.
Yeah, if you were there yesterday in the chat, by the way, let me know if you actually celebrated it the first time it went in or when everyone else around you started celebrating. I'm not sure the players knew. I think Brenner Woolley's commentary for Suffolk is quite sort of downbeat, like, oh, it's gone in, but it was weird, Seb, wasn't it? Because the stand, the goal is under the shadow of the stand, and the net is really dark, and the keeper kind of get caught out by it. I think.
And then our guys don't really celebrate it, do they? More, no one really kind of goes crazy given the quality of the goal. So, and the ball rolls back in as well, doesn't it? So I don't know. It took me a minute to clock. Sort of the people further down.
It did take you a minute. Surely,
the people down the right hand side.
A minute's a lot. Yeah. Everyone's going crazy. Everyone's going mad. You're going, All right.
What? I was adding to the urine bank for Forest Green Rovers to recycle.
Right, it
I
took me
did that,
5
but-
seconds to work it out.
That's
But
still a lot.
It was a strange one, wasn't it? It was weird, but what a strike! Hell of a strike.
Yeah, it was.
It's a great goal.
It was, and I think we saw a pretty solid second half performance against Bolton. Didn't probably get the result maybe we just about deserved, but on the balance, Seb, and going into the second half, certainly the second half of the first half, that scoreline was merited. I think with the chances created,
Complete control.
And how did you feel about that at half time going into the second?
We were getting a bit cocky, weren't we, and thinking this could be 3-4. Hopefully we'll keep going. Okay, the conditions were coming into play in the second half, and I guess we thought we might see a raft of substitutions and stuff to try and get some, rest some people. And it was just it was a strange sort of first half. It almost had the feel of almost not a friendly or a pre-season game, but that kind of that sort of lower key than normal. I guess the heat obviously was a major factor. It was bloody hot on that terrace, and God knows what it was like on the pitch. But yeah, complete control at half time, and I guess we were just thinking, right, brilliant, we're finally going to get one over one of the promoted sides. Let's stay professional. Let's keep the ball in the second half, make them do the running and tire themselves out, and look to add to a couple more goals.
And fair to say, Forest Green reacted, and Ian Birchnell not happy at half time. He makes a change and brings on March and goes 2 up front, because essentially Jamil Matt had, I know I put the team up, I'll put it up again. This is the starting team. Reece Brown there ultimately is going to be deeper than Matt, who was on his own. March comes on and it becomes more of a 2. And March actually makes a difference, doesn't he? He's involved in, he scores does he score the goal? I think I'm pretty certain he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets the second as well. So that change for Forest Green, I've got it right now, guys. It's only taken me 20 minutes, but we have to pay credit to Ian Birchnell, do we not, for the start that Forest Green made to the second half and coming back into the game.
But we're looking at it, and I was listening to it, and we didn't really seem to. It wasn't. They almost scored out of the blue. I mean, I think I posted on the group, and I was listening to it on Radio Suffolk. I didn't see it yesterday. I listened to it, and it was seemingly the goal was out of the blue. I don't think they'd threatened really much before the goal. I don't think we'd done much beginning of the second half. You said about Burns' shot, but I think we were relatively had the game sort of pretty much under control without too many scares. And all of a sudden, it's a bit of a poor goal. We just don't press the throw from the right, do we? It's all a bit easy. Good reverse ball in there, I think, from Henry, was it number 8? It
was good. Decent.
It's nice. Yeah, good reverse ball. We get caught. I think, McKenna had basically addressed that afterwards. Then
he wasn't happy, was
happy.
Yeah,
he wasn't happy with that.
He wasn't happy at full time because he stormed right off into the dressing room ready to give him a bit of a rollicking. And his post-match is really good, as we've come to expect. With Kieran McKenna's post-match interview, he's really honest. But he said, the shape and Walton, I think, mentioned it as well in his interview. And Walton's going to end up maybe saving us the game, really, with a double save just after the goal disallowed for offside, I think.
What was concerning, it really was shades of last season again, all over again, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that's what we all thought on the terrace. We thought once that first goal went in and their crowd got up, we all kind of thought, oh no, I know we've got new players and a nice new shiny kit, etc. But are we about to see the same Ipswich that we've seen for the last God knows how many years? But no, we were just we were under the cost limit for sort of 10 minutes or so after the goal, weren't we?
But then again, looking at the game, the substitutions. I mean, the substitutions sounded like Aluko and John Jules just made a hell of a difference in there. We were keeping the ball, retaining the ball better, and Aluko was Aluko really, wasn't he again?
I think once we saw off that sort of 10-15 minute spell, which sort of culminated in the double save from Walton, we were pretty comfortable from then on.
Sounded like
bearing in mind that there was 9 minutes injury time, and we sort of saw it out pretty easily, didn't we?
Yeah, it was not a happy. The referee added 4 minutes in the first half, and for nothing either. A couple of stoppages. Obviously, Davis went down injured. We don't really know the extent of that. But I was going to ask any of you, really, certainly, Seb, your perspectives from the away end, but anyone really, the kind of key players for me to see out that second half, ironically, are Cameron Burgess, who was pretty dominant in the air against Jamil Matt, and Edmondson obviously alongside him, I think, also big for that as well. I thought Lee Evans, who we obviously missed for a big chunk of last season, was very calm and confident and slowed things down in midfield.
And managed everything. He landed on the ball every time it dropped for the last half hour, didn't he?
And some of his first time passing was exemplary as well.
Yeah, and John Jules, who I know a lot of people, and we mentioned before, we obviously are live. We are aware you're in the chat, and Do stick your thoughts in there and questions in there because we want to
Hang
hear
on.
from
So
you.
John Jules in the chat.
John Jules is in the chat.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's what it sounded like.
no, it's Danny, not
Awesome.
not Tyrese. But a lot of people will be clamoring for him to start because he has made an impact. But actually, he's really good, Seb, at running the clock down, isn't he?
He
might
was,
not have landed
disciplined and intelligent, and he got in behind in that left-hand channel a few times. There's ball over the top from Lee. They linked up really well, Lee and John Jules down that left-hand side, and just a really intelligent footballer. You can see that he's been training at higher levels and stuff. His touch and his awareness, and he's an intelligent footballer. And I guess he'll get some minutes against Cole U because he's really impressed in those first 2 games. And what I like as well, Walton, I know Walton made the big double saves, but what's great about Walton as well is, when they've got a corner and you're a little bit under the cosh, he just comes and claims it first time. No fuss, just comes out, grabs the ball, 2 hands, strong in the air, and really looks to kill off the momentum. So another great game by Walton.
And Joe, we've talked about, certainly on this pod, seeing out. We haven't seen anything out against promoted teams last season, apart from maybe draws if we're lucky. But how significant is this in terms of getting the season up and running? First win goes without saying, but the kind of psychological positive impact of seeing the game out as we did.
Yeah, no, it's just what you need, isn't it? And I think I think it's the fans that are worse than the players, really, with regards to this. You sort of read on social media and message boards and it's like that people think we're going to let go of every lead going, and it's like, it's not an Ipswich thing. I guess all fans of all clubs are the same, and they think their football club is the only club in the land that lets lead slips, but it happens week in, week out around the country. And I don't know. I thought, I say, once that Walton, they'd got on top of the game up until they scored the goal. And like I say, after that Walton double save, they didn't really have anything after that. And there was a good sort of 25 or 20 minutes and then 10 minutes of injury time after that. A good half hour of football there, which they didn't lay a glove on us, did they? I think somebody put in the comments they didn't. And we didn't lay a glove on us.
We got
we had better chances after that, didn't we? We
the
sort
game went on.
Got stronger.
Fitter and stronger, and right at the death, Morsey takes one right off of Luco's foot where he's going to simply slide it. I think it was Jackson got him down the left.
Jackson should have shot though, shouldn't he?
But he's unselfish. He squares it across, and it's a pure tap in for a Luco. But Morsey takes it up his foot. But we just kept going. We regained control of the match, and we just seemed to get. We showed we look so fit this year, don't we, compared to what we were seeing this time last year at 60 minutes when you've got players being subbed because they're absolutely blowing. This year, I mean, those conditions yesterday, and they were still just going and going in the 99th minute. We just took control of the game again and saw it out really comfortably.
Yeah, Brenner was commenting on how fit Evans was. He's sort of chasing balls down in the time added on, still going strong at 90 plus.
It's interesting because at the start of the season, we were talking about probably Dominic Ball getting the nod alongside Sam Morsey coming off the back of 100 championship games over the last couple of seasons. But Lee Evans he's got the shirt, isn't he? And he's playing really well.
Yeah.
Yep. Any observations or thoughts on Forest Green? There we go. Before we move on,
I thought they were a good side. I thought they played out from the back really well. I thought they once they had the 2 strikes on, they were a lot better. I thought that Regan Hendry was good as well. He sort of made them tick in the middle because his brother was in the academy at Ipswich a few years back in the same year as Teddy Bishop and Michael Crowe, his older brother there down from Edinburgh. But no, I thought he was really good. He scored a brilliant goal last week to win them the points in their sort of first game. And he looks like he'll be a really good loan player for them. Yeah,
he looks like he's got the twines about him. Or who was that guy that we liked at MK who went to Celtic? I forgot his name.
O'Reilly.
Matt O'Reilly. Yeah, he's got that kind of. Yeah, he strikes a good ball, Dave. I think he makes the right shapes and all that kind of stuff. So he'll be good. And I think
where's he on loan from?
Celtic, I think.
Oh, is he? There you go.
Wow.
Irony. Coincidence. They've got too many of them. We should have one.
No.
But I think Forest Green will be fine when they step.
Based on what we saw, I mean, they'll make that ground. That ground will be a horrible place for teams to go when it's miserable weather and stuff, and they'll make that a tight kind of atmosphere. And hopefully they'll be okay because they're a good side. They play football the right way. When we saw the size of Matt before kickoff, you kind of think, oh, are they going to be a side that's going to look to lump it and try and make something stick? But they didn't. They stuck to their principles. And no,
you quite liked him, Rich. Didn't I see a comment from you? You quite liked him. Did he have a bit more about him than just being a lump?
Yeah, I thought I was going to talk about Ladapo a little bit because Ladapo kind of has moments in the game where he's suddenly switches on and he's got kind of a bit between his teeth and goes for a chance and has a shot and could have scored yesterday with one of those efforts. But in between times, you don't really see a huge amount of him. Whereas Jackson and John Jules came on, and obviously their brief was to slow the game down, but they've got the pace to get the ball and high press, but to keep it in the corners, which I guess is different to Ladapo's role. But Jamil Matt, for me, is if we want to change it up, and Walton's distribution, which McKenna mentioned, is vastly improved. Jamil Matt just got the ball on halfway and just held it up or span his man and got everyone else up the pitch. And I might be being overly critical. I don't see maybe Ladapo doing that much. And I think Matt had that skill, and I think that will really help.
But is that how we want to play? That isn't. I don't
well,
think
maybe
not.
Maybe
we
not.
like to move the ball and sort of just
and we play through
layoff and people come in, playing through that way.
It's fair enough, but we can't do that every week. And maybe against the Bolton, for example, it might have been a good plan B type tactic. But yeah, you're right, Joe. Maybe it's not the way of McKenna ball. And so, but I didn't know that he was. I think he's over 30. I think he might be 32. Got 19 goals in League Two last season. Matty Stevens, their leading scorer, 23 goals. He's got an ACL injury, as we were talking about in the pre-match. So a lot of pressure on him. Wickham, I'm not sure he's going to get you loads of goals, but he's a similar physical type presence, can sit deep. So it'll be interesting to see how Forest Green get on, but they seem to certainly have a lot about them that they should be fine. And we'll do the League One roundup. Obviously, as we said, we're still live, so get your comments in. We'll go through those. Any questions for the guys on where Joe gets his shirts from, or what Dave's got in his attic or something in terms of merch?
Sounds a bit
I don't know.
sinister.
Yeah, sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it? Do get them in, because we'll come to those next. Before we do that, Joe, can you talk to us about how great the Telegram group is? I know there are some Telegram regulars in the live chat with us tonight, so hello to you guys. But yeah, we're very much enjoying it, aren't we?
Yeah, like I'm sure the people in the group will post some comments, please, saying how good it is. But yeah, no, it's been really good. Match days, especially, where for those that aren't going to the games, there's a lot of, well, even those at the games, you sort of get the feel of being at the game. You get the pictures sent through from the game, the views of it, a bit of atmosphere spoken about in there. Then you get the people watching it, listening to it, coming through there and talking there. And then you get the feedback. I guess it's helpful for the people that have been to the game to see how the game looked on iFollow and vice versa. You pick things up there. I think Chris Rand just noted in the comments there about how people at the game saying Lee Evans had played well, where maybe not so many on iFollow have said that. So it's good to get the sort of view from both sides. And just generally, it's just a good chat throughout the week. It's busy, but not sort of cripplingly busy, where you look at it every time you look at your phone, you've got 100 messages to deal with. It's just a nice, gentle tick over of it, isn't there? Good chat throughout the week. I put the comment on the other day, it's Twitter without the twats. So
nice. Half an hour in. Yeah, we should be okay with that. Yeah, good stuff. And it's 8:30 anyway. But Blue Monday ITFC.co.uk is our website where everything is linked to. Head there. There's a link for you'll see it referred to as either Leveler or Telegram. Telegram's the app. Leveler are the hosts for that. They sort it all out and manage it for us. And first 2 weeks is on us. Now the season has started. We had a few people who took a break over the summer, which obviously people can come and go as they please. And after the 2 week trial, there's a subscription. But now the season has started. It's it's great, an exciting place to be, and lots of bits and pieces that we might share there that we might not share anywhere else. And obviously the shows will always come down here and all that kind of fun stuff. But they're nice to continue the debate throughout the week and after the game as well. So Telegram, head over to bluemondayitc.co.uk and check that out if you haven't already. Looking around League One, guys, before we go into the questions, any games, if I list out the scores, we can do what Ben did last week, which I quite liked. You can name a game. I'll go around in the order that Joe, Dave and Seb, so you can all screech over by picking the ones that you think most interesting. Barnsley came out on top of the Mike Duff derby, easy for me to say, against Cheltenham. Bolton, we know are pretty decent, but probably a surprising margin of victory against Wickham, who had a really good start to the season. Or maybe that's a comment on Burton, who, albeit lost O'Shaughnessy really early to a red card, got
first minute.
4-0 at home to Bristol Rovers, so not looking good for them. Derby, I think we'd expect to be maybe a little bit hit and miss. A first win for Ben Garner and Charlton of the season. Exeter, also a promoted team, winning 4-0, and they beat Port Vale. So Exeter, I guess, positive start, but probably against maybe some of the weaker opposition in the division. Fleetwood, maybe a surprise for some, a 2-1 victory over Plymouth. away from home. Toto Enciala up to his usual tricks, giving Plymouth a very soft penno, but coming back. And Joe Garner with a last-minute winner there for Scott Brown. MK's shaky starts. I heard the word on the EFL highlights, I think, gelling or something like that. There's a lot of new players need a turnaround. They need to gel. So Sheffield Wednesday coming away with a 1-0 win, courtesy of a penalty. Oxford won the boat race derby. Lovely goal in the last minute from a player that I think was about to go on loan. I've forgotten his name now. Gooderham or something like that. Gooderham, yeah. Lovely goal. Lovely goal. Gave them the win. Posh. They're on the 3 games a week at the moment. 3 goals a week, I mean, at the moment. And no real surprises they did over Morecambe there. Pompey Lincoln 0-0. And Shrewsbury. Another one of these double yellow card sending off situations for Flanagan, who got booked, I think, for a foul, then got booked for a dissent in the same moment, and then the referee sent him off. They went down to Accrington. Anyone want to drill into any of those outcomes?
I guess the interesting one is, well, there's a few, but obviously MK Don 0 points after 2 games. And who do we play next Saturday?
Oh, along Road, Ipswich.
Well, it's not just that. It's like it's a real opportunity for us to get 7 points ahead of what a team that you expect to be up there at the end of the season. And when we talk about the gelling, obviously they've lost Scott Twine, they've lost Harry Darling, they've lost Troy Parrott, Theo Corbigno, and a few players, some good loans there, and some permanent signings that they've lost. And they're a team that they're sort of a trust the process type team who have recruited well over the years, and that includes as managers, not just players. And they're having a sticky patch at the moment, and I think that may go on. I think they were better against Sheffield Wednesday than they were against Cambridge, but I'd say against Cambridge they created absolutely nothing. There was barely a shot in anger against Cambridge when they lost, and they're a bit better against Sheffield Wednesday, but again lost, and they're probably not looking forward to coming to Portman Road next week. And I'd say it's we've had sort of a tough start to the season when you look at Bolton, probably a team who haven't made minimal changes from last year, and you're sort of picking up on the first game of the season. You could quite often pick up a team who are just absolute sort of all over the place, no signings in, still got 5 or 6 more players to get in, and we pick up a team there. We then have to go to Forest Green for their first ever home game at this level. To come away from those 2 games with 4 points, I think all Ipswich fans were taken out at the start of the season, and we got a real opportunity to sort of put a dagger into Milton Keynes. And I know it sounds silly to be saying that on the 7th of August, but this is what happened to us last year. We got 9-10 points behind in August, and we never were able to catch it up.
Yeah, great point.
And after MK, obviously, it's Burton, isn't it? It's Burton up next, and another opportunity to go out there and really sort of look to put a good performance in, because they seem to be completely devoid of most things at the moment. So yeah, like Joe said, it's a really great chance for us to go and get some proper points on the board, end the month on maybe 9-10 points or so, and really look to build.
Any other games catch your eye, Seb? The
Fleetwood one was the big shock, wasn't it? Especially because Plymouth were 1-0 up as well. Obviously at half time 1-0 up, and yeah, Joe Garner doing us a bit of a favour there, because we all kind of tipped Plymouth quite strongly pre-season and stuff, and I thought they'd go and win that once they were 1-0 up. So that's a big help from Fleetwood.
Thought on Scott Brown, it's an interesting one there, isn't that? That appointment. So I think we speculated leading into the season that he might have the Roy Keanes about him, like he's the motivator, but maybe suggest the recruitment's been good. Fleetwood maybe going to be a dark horse.
Who motivates the motivator?
Recruited decently, haven't they? Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be up there troubling the top 6 or anything. They might see it as a bit of a transition season and look to finish kind of mid-table. I guess them and Shrewsbury are kind of in the same boat from decent summer recruitment and looking to maybe sort of transition this season, finish kind of mid-table or so, and maybe look to push on next season.
Dave, any games catch your eye? Any goals or anything catch your eye?
Not particularly. I mean, Peterborough, I think, has started sort of League One where they finished before, really, haven't they? As you say,
good opening goal in that one.
3-goal, good opening goal. I guess the only surprise in that game was 3 goals and not one for Clark Harris or Jack Marriott, which is a concern. Concern? I don't know. Maybe it is. No, yeah. So they've started where they are. I mean, Exeter, Thump, Port Vale. Don't really know. I must confess, don't really know that much about Exeter, but that's I suppose I catch it. And Derby, where we said I think one of my rubbish predictions last week was Derby to lose. I got it a week late. Was Derby to lose at home to Oxford? But yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be a bit hit or miss at first. And apparently they played well enough. From what I
Dominated, I
understand,
think.
played well enough and fairly dominated, and just sounds like one of our performances from last season.
Indeed.
Yeah. So and very much agree with the guys. A good opportunity to put say one over 7 points ahead of MK next Saturday.
Intriguing. Yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously still at the forming stage of the season, so we'll see how some of these teams fare when Exeter up. Obviously I can put the table up on the screen. It's not a huge amount to read into that. Exeter there in second place. The real quiz, I think, is when they come up against someone else. If I was prepared, I'd be able to tell you who they've got next week, but I can't, so maybe someone will help me out and put that out in the chat. But yeah, MK there in second. Maybe those two teams folk would have expected to be the other way around. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what we saw last week, I think Bolton will be around there for sure most of the season.
Yeah, very confident performance by all sounds up there. Let's go into the chat. Keep them coming, folks. We will read as many of these as we can. Quite a few chat about vegan bits and pieces, of course. HCH saying the French have just legislated that veg food cannot be called meat, i.e. corn. So there you go, HCH. Yeah, I'm all aboard that train. Good to see that. Good old French. What have they ever done for us? No, that's not. Yeah. Well, I thought Forest Green played some nice stuff. Well-run club. Plans for the future. Stadium is fantastic. Yeah, I think we agree with that, Seb, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where is any idea? Where is the future? Is that going to be
just off the M5?
Right down the M5.
Yeah, the M5.
Much more reasonable. So I guess that opens up stuff commercially as well. So I think they got approval a few years ago, didn't they? But I've not seen any
pre-COVID. I think.
I've not seen any kind of timescales on building it or anything like that. So I think they're still a little way off, I guess.
Dave, thoughts on this question related? Do we think Wes needs more minutes Tuesday night or rest until next Saturday?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I think he is just a little bit. Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with that. I don't think you want to risk him as such. I don't think there's any need to really. He'll be absolutely fine. I think what did he have? 85 minutes, I think, pretty much yesterday. So no, I'm sure he'll be fine once he gets up to speed. And he was away with Wales and probably is a week, 10 days behind the rest of the squad. So I've got no qualms about him. And as Joe quite rightly said, he is going to be certainly more of a marked man this season.
He will be, yeah.
There's a bit of in the chat about the team for culture. So that's something we should just cover at the end. Cover at the end of the pod, or cover now.
Well, let's maybe come back to cultures. Let's get through all the bits and pieces we can from the weekend, and then look ahead, shall we? At the end. Ashley, I think one of the Telegram crew, interesting. Harness says because of the step up in quality, he felt a little bit behind the rest of the squad, but now he feels up to getting up to scratch. It's an interesting thought there, Joe. Your reflections of Harness, obviously a tricky debut. I thought he was one of the better team players in the first half against Bolton, but yesterday,
I thought he was a lot better yesterday. And like I say, I think just the goal summed him up in that, as I mentioned, sort of Davies hammers the ball into his feet, and he's got the quality and the sort of confidence to take a touch and lay it off when he's got two people really pressing him there, and then he doesn't just stop and admire that he's done that. He gets straight on his bike and gets up into the box and gets into an area. He had a decent shot from outside the box. He had another one from when Donatian put a cross and he got a decent connection there. And all three of his attempts at goal were all good attempts at goal. Two the keeper saved relatively comfortably, but they were right in the corner, and the other one was the goal. And if he can start popping up with goals, something like that, he needs to do, because we'll see.
Joby McAnuff certainly talked him up on the EFL show, didn't he, last night?
Joby McAnuff, he of the best chant in the EFL when he was player, which was to the baby give it up. Mackie-enough. Anyway, Ben's not here. I need to do this thing in. Michael, moving on quickly. Walton, such a good goalkeeper, picking the ball out of the air at his highest point. Good come saves. Passing is getting better, Seb. Maybe a bit unsung yesterday, or would you give him much praise?
My man of the match for yesterday personally wasn't. Morsey was fantastic, but for me, Walton was the man of the match. The big save before the first goal, the double save, so calm when he comes to collect things. And there was one moment yesterday, do you remember in the first half, his distribution, he just booted it downfield right into, I think it was Harness's path, and he looked to build a move straight away. So his distribution is something that's really improving. So, I mean, we know he's too good for this level, and he's going to win us points on his own this season. And yeah, it's great to say, isn't it, that we've got a position we just don't have to worry about, because we know we're going to get a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performance from him every single week. He's just too good for this league.
And we're obviously big fans of Christian Walton on the pod. having spoken to him last season. You can find that on our YouTube channel. Stephen, Dave, what do you think about playing Ball, Evans, and then Morsey even higher up in a Chaplin role? As long as Morsey is going to step away and let someone better placed have a strike on goal.
Yeah,
or,
you can't
or he's
really
just
see
gonna
that,
score.
because Morsey's been so effective at the moment. You wouldn't really want to break up that. I wouldn't, want to break up that Morsey Evans axis at the moment. Really. So, yeah, it's as Joe said earlier, it's an interesting conundrum that because we all thought, I think it was pretty much nailed on, that Ball was going to perhaps start last week with in the central area there with Morsey, but as I say, possession is 9/10 of the law or whatever. So there's no reason to leave Evans out at all. So yeah, I can't see that.
Yeah. Well, talking of possession of the shirt, some real standout performances, says Mike. I really
Mike,
thought Burgess was excellent. Great that you really expect nothing less than what we get from Morsey and Walton every week. Burgess really impressed, didn't he, guys, yesterday? Has he got back in everyone's good books? Because I think everyone was expecting maybe Joe to be sold. We could have got maybe some good money for him, but he's maybe shown his usefulness, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a decent backup at this level, but for me, it's still a step down in quality from Edmondson, Wolfenden, and Donatian as a back three there. I think it's just a step down there. And I thought he like I say, won his headers, which is something you wouldn't expect. But the big moment in the game is what happens to him far too often, where he gets too tight, somebody ball over his head, gets turned, can't turn quick enough, drags him down. And I know the Forest Green fans were calling for a red card there, but I thought yellow was the right decision. But it's still giving away a dangerous position. Very, very dangerous position in the 90th minute of the game, wasn't it? That luckily nothing came from. But it's just that part of his game. And I say, he gives you a slightly better balance, but he's not in the same class as the other three for me.
I don't know. I disagree. I think he's a nice footballer. Lovely left foot. But Joe's right. Perhaps it's his concentration, and he is where he is. What holds him back? Perhaps he is. Yeah, he can switch off. Perhaps ball kill.
Switching off.
It's the old. No, it's not switching off. It's the old ball watching. It's the ball watching.
I think he's just really slow on the turn, isn't he? And
all the attributes, though, isn't he? Looks fantastic.
There we go.
Lovely. But
attributes.
Lovely on the ball. He's strong. He's maybe. Perhaps not as his recovery perhaps isn't as quick as Edmondson and or Wolfenden, but I really like Burgess. I really do.
Seb, your thoughts on obviously we were looking across the pitch yesterday, and Burgess in our team sticks out as probably one of the more physical and tall players we've got at this level. Is that a useful attribute, to borrow the Dave word there, that we maybe don't have with the other options?
Maybe, and against Matt yesterday, it was certainly very useful. But I agree with Joe. I don't think you play him ahead of the likes of Edmondson.
I totally agree with that.
I think he's a decent squad player. He'll have his uses throughout the season, like yesterday, when after the first 5-10 minutes, he pretty much managed Matt really, really well. And in the second half, he won pretty much every header up against him. I like the way he adds balance. I like the left-footed aspect to add balance to the back three. But I think he's got to be a squad player.
And just thoughts on this one from Michael as well. Harness and Chaplin seem to play the same way. Do you think that one will drop out of the team, Seb?
I thought Chaplin played really well yesterday. Really intelligent runs off the ball to create space and to open up passing opportunities for other players. So I think they'll link up quite well. I know what you're saying. They're both kind of ball carriers who look to kind of get shots off and look to move into space and stuff. But I think they're both quality players at this level. Chaplin, like I said, made some really, really good runs yesterday and played really, really well. I thought I wouldn't break up that partnership at the moment. And let's be honest, Salida is no longer coming, so they are going to be the front two. Aluka will come in here and there and stuff. I guess John Jules will get a start against Cole U on Tuesday night. But for me, Harness and Chaplin would be the ones I'd play against MK.
I thought Chaplin didn't get enough credit for his performance against Bolton. I thought
I agree, Dave. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely excellent against Bolton.
I thought he was subbed off a bit early. But maybe that's the strategy with the double changes. Let's finish before we start getting on. I know we've already started getting ahead of ourselves, Seb, and talking about Cole U when I've not even asked you about it. But hey ho, I said herding cats, didn't I? So there we go. Can't control them, guys. Can't control them. Joe, I'll come to you on this because you're the man with his ear to the whatever it is. I don't know what my analogy was going to be. Charlie D, are we expecting any signings / departures this week? We know anything, guys? I'm happy to open this up to all of you.
No, don't seem to hear anything, do you? On the sort of sign, it's obviously we're still going after George Hurst, but until he goes somewhere else, he's going to be the number one target, isn't he? So it's just a case of letting that one play out, and it'll probably play out towards the end of the window as these things do. The Premier League clubs have got no desire to need to sell, do they? So you're on their timetables. Players going out. I think El Mazzuni, it sounds like he's going to go out on loan. Maybe Corey Ndaba, Cameron Humphreys as well. But is it a case that we want to see how they get on against Colchester? See if we win the game against Colchester for a start as well, and then if there's more games to play, you might keep him.
Joe, did I see something where that young Chirua is potentially in the same situation as Simpson?
He's got another year left. He's got another year left on his deal, and that was one where we took the option. I think there has been struggles to get a deal agreed.
Right, interesting. Watch that space. But yeah, I think a deal for another striker will be, last day Wednesday. Interested to know that Macaulay Bonne featured for QPR, got man sent off actually yesterday in the Championship. So yeah, I think that ship might have sailed a little bit as well. But good for Macaulay Bonne to get match action for QPR. And before I move into the week ahead, in the questions, let's not get ahead of ourselves. One game at a time, please. Very good. Get us just even keel, calm. Yes. Biles' question. Let's look ahead. Cup's coming up. I guess it will be a second 11, says Biles. I feel we must try to get a run and even try and win the trophy. That will be the Pizza Cup rather than maybe the Carabao Cup, which is the action we're in midweek. I'll come to each of you. Are you rotating the full 11? Are you doing a little bit of 50-50, or are you keeping the same old team from most of the team from Forest Green? I'll start with Seb.
I would change the whole 11 personally. I'd give the likes of Flagship, Vincent Young, and Ndaba if he's fit. Lee, give him a start, and I'd look to rotate the whole thing out personally, and just have a couple of the first teamers on the bench if required. Keep them fresh for MK.
Any different thoughts to that before I just ask all of you? I mean, it
No.
feels like I'm trying to see the sense in the comments. I think
it's difficult, isn't it? Though, because it's hard to. You almost get lost between what's your opinion and what you think is actually going to happen as well, don't you? Because I'm pretty sure that we will just change the whole 11. If you think you can put a team out, and I don't think Aluko will start either as well, because I think he's going to be someone whose minutes get managed. But if you look at it, and you can end up with Hladky in goal, a back three of Vincent Young, depending on sort of Wolfenden's fitness, maybe Burgess and Ndaba there, and then left back Lee. Or you could have Lee in the middle and Penny at left back, Edwards at right back.
KVY came
Ball
on
and he might be in the back three though, mightn't he? There, so then you got Ball and El Mazzuni in the middle,
Humphreys
and John Jules with Jackson in front of them.
There's
a team there. There's a good 11-man team there, isn't it? Without even
throwing anyone in,
and without even putting Aluko in there, so you could almost consider Aluko like your 12th man, almost, isn't he? Where he is going to come on and play in every single league game season, but he might not start that many because his minutes need to be managed. And if you think we've got MK on Saturday and Burton on Tuesday coming up, that maybe you just think you'd imagine that McKenna's probably almost got a team picked for all those 3 games already, isn't he?
I think he's already pretty much said that, hasn't he? Hasn't things moved on from Crystal Palace away a few years back?
and you've got to give these guys minutes as well.
Yeah, of course you have.
You've got to get Kyle Edwards a game. You've got to get Dominic Ball some minutes. You've got to see what Corey Darby and Cameron Humphreys can do.
When I mentioned Harper, if he's fit.
If Craig's listening, he'll be saying mention Harper. So there you go.
Yeah.
Greg Lee deserves a start.
Greg Lee was great when twice he's come on and looked decent for me. Greg Lee, I feel really sorry for him. So yeah, it feels like we are unanimous that we have enough to rotate the full 11.
Just quickly going back to yesterday, just quick opinion on Davis. Better game, looked more progressive. Obviously, it was had some involvement in both goals, albeit tenuous to the second one maybe. But yeah, looked the part.
Yeah, I like him. I thought he had a couple of iffy moments at the start, but he grew into the game really well. I really like his weight of pass. When he fires a ball in, he does it, with real purpose and stuff. And I think he'll be a great option for us.
There were 4 or 5 times though he ended up down, not receiving treatment, but looking like he was needing to receive treatment there. So you just wonder if he's, I don't know, you hope he's not, whether he's a bit injury prone when you look at the amount of games he's played in his career. But from the very first minute, he ended up sort of down in the heat, didn't he? And again later on, and then he went off.
Taken off? Did he go off injured? Yeah,
he did.
Well, he did, but you don't know whether he was just
expected, maybe. But
so it's just.
We'll find out maybe next week. But
he walked off okay though. It wasn't like he was limping off or anything.
He
got a kick on.
He did hit the ground. He did kind of pound the ground like he was frustrated with something. So we'll see about that one. But he looks okay. I think he still needs to get acclimatized to the players around him as well for a start, and the way that we play. But he looks like he's got, to borrow a Davism, he's got the attributes, and he's probably he's taller than I thought he'd be as well. But I'm a big fan of Greg Lee. I want to put it out there. So I want to see him feature, and I thought he had a good preseason. So we shall see. In terms of we shall see, before we say goodbye, I want your predictions for Cole U in the Carabao Cup. It's not an East Anglian derby, so we don't have to worry about that. But Seb, it would be a bit of a kick in the whatsits to lose this one on Tuesday, wouldn't it? And make the rotation, lose, and then go into MK. We want to keep winning, don't we?
Yeah, you want to build momentum.
It's a really dumb question, but you know what I mean.
You want to build the momentum whilst getting the minutes into the other squad players that kind of deserve it. No, I think we'll go out there, and I don't know much about Cole U aside from obviously the ex-ITFC players. They've got this. I don't know. I don't think they've got the biggest depth squad in the world. So hopefully we'll see a few familiar faces, and hopefully they'll get a great reception. But yeah, I think a fairly comfortable 2 or 3-0 win to really look to keep that momentum going, keep the feel-good factor going, and then what I would call the main first team would come
the
back
real quiz
on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the real quiz.
I think they had 5. I looked actually yesterday. I think they had 5. They had Skews and Judge in the middle, Chambers and Eastman at the back, and Sears up front on his own yesterday.
Did Nouble not play?
Nouble, I think, was benched, Joe.
I think you mean Nouble, guys. Nouble it is now. But Freddie Sears has had a good season for them last year, didn't they? Drew with Carlisle, I think, at the weekend, but yeah, I think that even our rotated 11 should hopefully.
Joe could probably give us a Colchester team now, can't you, Joe? What's it?
But it's happened a few times, like when we played these league, like Newport last year. We make 11 changes, but Newport make 11 changes, and then we lose. And people say, "Oh, well, we shouldn't have made 11 changes." Like, no, we should beat them with our second team.
Oh.
And you've got to hope that whatever the sort of mental barrier that's been in place as to why we can make changes and lose games, and other teams can make changes and beat us in them, has changed, because you've got a really, really good squad at this level. You look like the 11 I've named as our second team would finish in the top 10 of this league, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And there probably would be a top 10 budget as well if you were looking at that sort of the 11 wage of those 11 players compared to sort of that, and you've got players in there that you've paid big fees for in the sort of reserve 11. So you've just got to make the change, and that team's got to win, and they've got to win their Papa John's trophy games, and they've got to keep winning, and they've got to put pressure on the first team that way, because McKenna's going to settle on a team soon. He looks like he already is, and the only way people are going to get out of that is by really playing well in these games here. This is their big opportunities.
Is part of it, Joe, that we rotate all the leaders out of the team as well when we do that?
But
are there more
other
leaders
teams do that, don't they?
So is there something to be said about retaining the likes of Morsey or Evans, perhaps in the centre of the park, just to make sure that there are enough people getting the right level of performance from the players around them? Is that, or do we have enough leaders in the rest of the squad now that isn't a big issue?
Well, people have got to step up, don't they? Would be my view on it, that people just have to step up, and if they can't step up, then, because you really need, without sort of sounding cliched, you need 11 leaders out there, don't you? When you look at our best teams, like our teams that got promoted, you've got Tony Mowbray, Matt Holland, Jim McGilton. These are all leaders throughout the team, isn't it? You can't get by with just having one leader, and I think, people have got to step up and do it. I think Dominic Ball, if he plays, is a player that has that sort of thing.
Yeah, just could be that player. Yeah, quite agree. Very good stuff. Good stuff, chaps. Enjoyed that debate. Excellent stuff. Just a reminder, obviously, Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk is where all the bits and pieces are to support us, to get involved in some merchandise. There's an example of the kind of fun stuff you can buy with a Blue Monday logo slapped across it. A little bit comes back to us to support the pod, so every little helps. You can also give us a thumbs up or a review. If you want to give us a review on, I know we always bang on about YouTube subscriptions and thumbs up, which are obviously really important on that side. But the pod reviews and pod 5 stars, if you want to give us 5 stars, is also really helpful as well. So every little bit on that is really well appreciated from us as well. So thank you for those of you who've joined us and got involved in the chat tonight. And we will be back, I assume, midweek Q&A for Cole U. We'll certainly be back for the pre-match and the flagship for MK Dons. Anything else, guys, I need to mention? I think we've got all the big bits and pieces, haven't we? Let's do some predictions before I let you say goodbye. We've got a 2-0 from HCH and from Lee. We've got a 3-0 from Charlie, a 3-1 from Gary, a 3-0, a 2. John really should be winning on Tuesday. Yeah, we shall see. Michael's gone for a 4-2. Jackson to score 3 versus the aging Cole defence. 2-0 from Daniel. Chambers to get centre 5. Can't see that happening, Daniel. Chamber, the professional that he is. And then Biles is going, he's already thinking ahead. We'll get City the next round. It doesn't say which city it is, though. So maybe, I couldn't come up with a quick city on the top of my head that we could beat.
Truro City.
There you go. We could smash them up on Portman Road, certainly. Romeo's going for a 1-0 with John Jaws on the score sheet. So there you go. We don't have a first team. We have a group. There you go. Says A, making some really profound, very specific points there. I'm loving that on the chats. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. As always, we will be back live every week. So please make this an appointment of you because there's naff all on the telly on a Sunday night anyway. But if you've enjoyed this on the podcast as well, that's also good too. Joe, do you want to say goodbye?
Yep. See you later, guys. See you Wednesday for the Q&A, no doubt.
Yep. Dave?
Yeah, cheers, everyone. Town on penalties. 4-2.
Oh, on penalty. So 0-0 after normal time. Oh, Dave. There you go. Well, it
attrition.
Might be...
A night of attrition. I can see it. Always.
Tickets still available, folks, by the way.
I've sold it.
Yeah. Seb?
No, up and running for the season. 4 points already. Let's look to keep the momentum going and have a really, really good first month.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.